Hello everyone, this is BioPhoenix here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a game for the Sega Genesis called Chakan the Forever Man. Chakan? I don't fucking know what it's called. But one thing I do know is that this game is based after a comic book with the same name, and it was released in 1992, and it was developed by Extended Play and published by Sega. Now this is an action-adventure game that has many elements such as platforming, and it even has some alchemy mixed into it. But for now, let's talk about the story first. Now it was said that Chakan cannot be killed by death at all, and for that reason, the Grim Reaper comes out of nowhere and challenges Chakan for a match, and one of them had to be declared the winner, and I'm pretty sure you can take a guess who won. It was Chakan who won. He even killed death. And his reward for winning was that he now has eternal life. But I guess that's not enough for him, so now he has to destroy the 4 evil supernaturals, which are arranged in 4 elements, and that's pretty much where the game begins. But there is one thing I did find to be pretty funny though when I was reading the beginning part, and it says, "Neither man or beast could best me in Mortal Kombat." Now, does that mean that he pretty much annihilated everyone in the Mortal Kombat video game? Okay, probably not, but you know, for the fact that they mentioned something called Mortal Kombat, it would be pretty funny if he ever was in the game Mortal Kombat as a playable character. I mean, I think that'd be pretty badass. But anyways, now let's start with the gameplay. Now you start the game in this hub world which looks like space, and you have 4 different worlds to choose from, and they represent 4 different elements. And they are wind, fire, earth, and water. Now you can play any level in any order, although there are 3 stages within each level. And now, here's the one thing I want to stress out really much, and you know what that is that this game is really fucking hard. Yeah, now remember when I was talking about that game, Hagani the Final Conflict on the Super Nintendo, how I said that game was fucking hard? Well, this one is probably even harder than that game. And there are many reasons why for this game is really fucking hard, such as really pain in the ass enemies, hazardous that are really hard to avoid, and figure out what you're supposed to do to get past by certain parts. But thankfully, you do get unlimited continues, which is really good, and very handy since, you know, this game is really fucking hard and all. I guess they learned something good from Ninja Gaiden. Now, another thing that is a little bit tricky to figure out is your spells. Now, it's tricky because you have no idea which spells do what, and these symbols don't really help out too much. I mean, I assume the cross one gains your health, right? But that's just an example. Some of the other ones are pretty easy to tell which ones do what, but some of them I'm not entirely sure which one does what until I actually use and realize, oops, it's too late. And for reasons like that, you really need a manual for this game. And it kind of sucks for the fact that I actually own a copy of this game in the box without a manual. Yeah, go figure. But other than that, it's not too bad. In fact, you have a lot worse shit that you have to worry about than that. But as for now, let's take a look at the controls. And I have to say, the controls are actually pretty good in this game. Now, one thing that is a little bit tricky to get used to is the jumping, because it's really hard to make your mark sometimes. But probably my favorite thing about the jumping is the aerial swing attack. Now, I have to say, that's a really badass looking move. And I'm pretty sure they probably got the idea of that from the Super Star Wars games on the Super Nintendo. So other than that, there's nothing much more to say, but the controls are actually pretty good and easy to get used to. But of course, that's probably the easiest thing to get used to in this game. Now as for the graphics in this game, I find they're very suiting for the game. They're really dark and gritty, and I really like that. So there isn't really too much I can say about graphics, since I can't really go too much detail into it, but they actually do look really nice, so that's a good thing. And now as for the music in this game, I think it's pretty alright. Some of the songs actually do sound pretty soothing for the game, since, you know, it's really dark and it's supposed to be creepy and whatever. But some of the other songs do sound kind of weird. Mainly for the fact that this game has that really early Genesis sound. I can't really describe it, but I'm sure most people that have grown up with a Genesis or played a lot of Genesis games would actually know what I'm talking about. But I do think the music is just alright overall. It's not my favorite thing, but I do think it does sound kind of cool for the most part. Now let's go back to all the shit in this game that's really fucking hard. I know one thing that really pisses me off is that in the water level, there's this one part where there's this tentacle thing blocking your path and you can't get rid of it at all. The only way that you can get rid of it if you use this one spell that destroys everything on the screen at that time, so therefore you can get past that. And then in the fire level, there's this one part that I really don't like at all, where you have to keep on swinging off these skull heads in the background with your new scythe weapon that looks really weird but really cool at the same time. So you have to keep on swinging them with this lava thing pouring down on you. And you're supposed to get that one that's in the top corner, but I can never reach it because I always end up falling down in the fire. And as for the air level, I fucking hate this one so fucking much. Oh my fucking god, I can never get past this fucking part. And I'm sorry for saying fucking so many times in a row, but man, if you actually played this level, it'd probably piss you off too. I'm just not even sure where to go in this level. Like, every time I keep on trying to go up and up and up, and then there's like parts where I can't even know how to get up higher without having to use like the jumping spell. And then if you miss this jump, and then you go all the way down, and then you always end up falling into a pit of death. And for shit like that, I really hate this one that much. And as for the earth level, well, like I've already said before, there's just a lot of pain in the ass enemies that are really hard to avoid. Now, another thing that I really hate about this game is that there's a time limit, but the time limit in this game is a lot worse than a lot of other games, because here's the thing. When you complete a level, you see the hourglass going down each time. When you get to the second stage in that level, well, the time will still stay at that point, and then it will keep going down even more. And when the time goes up, you have to start all the way back from the first stage of that area. Now, wow, that is just a piece of crap right there. In fact, that's the thing that really pisses me off about this game very much, is that goddamn time limit. And for a lot of reasons like that, that is why I find this game to be much harder than Hagane the Final Conflict. Now, one thing I do find really weird is that when you die, you make a really weird sound effect. I don't know why, but it kind of reminds me of a rooster. Now, if you want to buy this game, it costs around either to $7 to $15. And I find that's not too bad for this game. If I remember right, I think I got this game for about $15. And I don't see it around too often around my area, but the one time that I did see it, that was when I got the game. So it's at least a pretty common game. Now, if I were to rate this game, I'd have to rate it, well, you probably wouldn't believe me, but I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10. The game is actually really well made and has great atmosphere and has some pretty okay music, but it's just really fucking hard. But then again, I've said the same thing about Hagane, where that game was like really well made, but it was also really fucking hard. Now, yeah, it does seem like all I did was like bitch about like how hard this game actually is, but I mean, a game being hard is actually not a bad thing at all. Now, sure, there's a lot of annoying and pain in the ass things in the game, but I still have quite a bit of fun times playing this game. And as I mentioned before, this game is also kinda like the game Super Star Wars on the Super Nintendo, where that game is also like really fucking hard, but it's also really fun. Now, is this game worth owning for everybody? No, I wouldn't say so, but it's at least a pretty badass looking game though. And if you want a good challenge, well, this is the game for you. So before ending this episode, there is one thing I would like to talk about that is pretty interesting. And that interesting thing is that there was supposed to be another Chakan the Forever Man game, but however, the game did not really get cancelled, but the game got like completely remade over, and that game is known as Blood Omen 2. Yes, I'm pretty sure we are all familiar with that game on the PlayStation 2. But if you're not familiar with it, it is very similar to this game in a way, but of course in a 3D perspective. But I won't be able to talk much about Blood Omen 2 since this is a game I have not played in many years, but maybe we might be able to take a look at it someday. And there's one more thing I want to talk about, and funny enough, it also has to do with Star Wars as well, is that in the show Star Wars The Clone Wars, they actually made a character based off of Chakan, which is kind of interesting since, you know, that Chakan took something from Star Wars and then Star Wars decided to take something from this game, so I don't know, it's kind of like a whole circle. So it's not a bad game at all, but it's really frustrating, so be prepared. So that's all I have to say. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and commenting.